Well, the key, I guess that, why is technology important? Because technology is related to, I'll call it mathematics and the ability to execute algorithms, execute decision, or kind of AI, process on information. You all heard of Watson from IBM, right? Now, that's a very intelligent system because it's learning what has gone on. Well, I think at Wall Street Winning, some of the algorithms also are kind of the same. We're learning. It's learning from what the stock has done in the past, what its fundamentals are, and it's kind of telling you these are the ones that should do well in the future. So it's using the technology available and the fact that you can process 8,000 stocks every night. That is the key. It wasn't possible 3-4 years ago. The computer power wasn't there, or it would be so expensive that you couldn't afford it. That's changed significantly. So having algorithms that are very complex, take a lot of compute power, now are usable, and you can use them every day. The reason for the technology is to take advantage of an opportunity. Some of the products that have been put together in the past, have been based on what was available in the financial industry. A lot of annuities are based on insurance companies, and their ability to generate a return is very limited. It's either through real estate or through very fixed long-term investments where maybe they're getting 2 to 3% a year. That's all they can go after. Okay, they're not built around what's happening in the stock market per se. Mutual funds are designed for the person that wants to invest $100 a week. Okay, that's good. Okay, now you can have an actively managed mutual fund where there's an analyst that picks stocks. He should outperform the mutual fund that just follows the S&P 500 index. But what happens? Probably 60% of those guys, they're underperforming the S&P 500. Why? Because they're not making very good decisions. They're not buying the right stocks at the right time. And so maybe they're not using current technology. They could maybe do a better job, because if you can just invest on the average, and if the S&P 500 goes up 10% in the year, you can get that 10% by doing nothing, okay? Just by investing in the S&P 500 mutual fund. So now if we apply technology and say, okay, how can we improve the result? Well, we improve the result by buying stocks at the right time, good companies at the right time. And even if you took the S&P 500, you say, well, those are all good companies. Yes and no. They're probably, 400 of them are good, 100 may be mediocre. There may be a few that are bad, okay, just because they're in the list. But that list has been fine-tuned somewhat. But you could take that list and you could filter it based on fundamentals, and you'd probably find 30 or 40 companies in the S&P 500 where you could, with options, and even if you took my strategy at Wall Street Winning, you could probably do 20-25% a year with those equities. That's the power of the system, okay? It's the selecting the right stock with the right options to make that investment. And you don't need to invest in all 500 of them. Okay? There are a lot of, I'll call it investment programs on the internet. Just search for investing software or investing tools. And take a look at some of the tools that try to help you put together a portfolio, number one, and also get into the right types of stocks or industries that are going to give you a better return. So it's a matter of using the technology, and again, you have to take action. You actually have to go do that, okay? To be really successful, you need to be actively involved to understand which might be, A might be better than B. So that's the other part, is to be actively, or take an active interest, okay, in some of those things.
It's your money, right? I mean, you're the only one that's going to really care about your money.
And your result, okay?
Exactly.
If you want to get 2%, you say that's not very good. Well, how active are you thinking about what else can I do to have a better return? I did that all along, in the sense, way back when I was younger. I lived in Minnesota, so there was a Minnesota bond fund. It was kind of like a tax-free Minnesota bond fund versus kind of the federal bond fund. And I did the analysis and says it's better for me to invest some money in the tax-free, Minnesota tax-free, because Minnesota taxes were 8 and 10% on your income. I says, whoa, that reduces the return significantly. So a little small calculation tells you right away it's probably better to invest in the tax-free one to get a better return. It's all about being understanding how you can get a better return and taking some of that as leverage in making a decision. Same thing at Wall Street Winning on looking at options. Now, there are a lot of, I'll call it service providers that tell you, buy this option, buy that option, etc., because tomorrow it's going to double. The problem is a lot of those suggestions or recommendations or whatever you want to call them, they're going after premium. And sure enough, once in a while you get a home run. You doubled your money on an option that you bought, but the other 8 times you lose money because the option expired worthless. So you threw your money out the window. Don't want to throw your money out the window. I'd rather you invest in a real company and sell an option against it, because now you own the company. You own the underlying equity. You own something. It's like owning gold in the safe. You put your gold in the safe, what happens? It's there for you whenever you want it. It has a value. Every day the ounce, price per ounce goes up and down, but the value is that you own X amount of ounces. Well, if you own 1,000 shares of some company, you're always going to own 1,000 shares, no matter if it's $10 or $9. The key is, what can you do with that ownership? Well, you can sell options at $10. 1 month out or a week out, 2 weeks out. Every week you can do that over and over. And even if you only make a nickel a share, multiply that by 50 weeks. That's $2.50 for selling options against that stock that you paid $10 for. So think about that in the sense of what the opportunity is. And that's why not only using that kind of a concept of selling options every week, but then doing it in companies, okay, that Wall Street Winning software and the processing that we do each night, that it comes up with the right opportunity at the right time. That gives you a significant advantage over anybody else. Significant advantage. There's no one else out there doing that. They're trying to pick stocks. They may be looking at the S&P 500, but there's 8,000 stocks out there. There are 4,000 ETFs to look at, and the marketplace is just growing significantly in that aspect as far as opportunities to look at. The other thing is the options market has exploded.